Good afternoon and welcome to We Believe Digital Studios and our twice weekly We Believe Digital News Break show. Chris Young here, glad to have you joining us. We do have a call-in number, 1-800-492-5186, or love to have you join us in the chat. You got 20 different stories to get to you today. From Jackson and Hinds County all the way out to the world view. Chilly 46 degrees in Jackson. Boy, we haven't had a chance to report that in a very long time. So glad you're joining us today. And we'll start out at the local level. The story that's really very resonating with so many people, the shooting that happened on the right outside the JSU campus. But 3 on Your Side, WLBT, is now saying that they have exclusive video that could prove the wrong person is behind bars for the recent killing at Jackson State University. And again, was off the campus. Tuesday, we uncovered new information that further validates that claim. Officials with JSU continue to stay tight-lipped about the investigation. We've confirmed that Jackson police got a call about a man shot near JSU's campus on October 15th at 9:26 p.m. That's less than a half an hour before the shooting suspect was apparently caught on camera at a Krispy Kreme drive-thru in Hattiesburg, 90 miles away. So this man is behind bars for this shooting, but more information is coming to light. So it's very possible, based on this, that the shooter is still at large. So we try to keep a close eye on this. Another story, Clinton, Hinds County. This is from WJTV. Following a veto from the Clinton mayor, Phil Fisher, of the proposed ward map for the city, 2 new ward maps were proposed in October. The ward map proposals follow Fisher's September veto of the Board of Aldermen's approval of a new ward map. So how about that? So they finally get together and decide, and they voted on a map, and the mayor immediately vetoed that, and now coming up with new maps. This is always a big deal, and we always got to watch these people very closely. Mayor Fisher said the proposed September ward map disenfranchised voters. Really? He further accused some aldermen of voting in favor of it for their own personal or electoral gain, not the people of Clinton. Clinton Mayor, more recently, Fisher joined Alderman Chip Wilbanks and Alderman Jim Martin, who went to the Central Mississippi Planning and Development District to reach an agreement that would satisfy the Board of Aldermen to be fair to its residents. During the meeting, the 2 maps were created, which minimally divided any subdivision between multiple aldermen. The board's next work session is November 6th at Old Town Train Depot at 5:30 p.m. A vote would likely be held during regular scheduled board meetings, either on November 21st or December 5th. Please be reminded now, Clinton is 46% black. And when they talk about changing these ward maps, this is Mississippi, and this is Clinton, Mississippi. And the population in Clinton, Mississippi is 46% black, and yet, how many aldermen do you think they have? Out of the 7 aldermen, only 1 is black. And so they're looking at these maps, so we got to make sure that we get this right now. And keep a close eye on this Clinton Mayor Fisher, and what he's up to, and is his plan really to serve all of the residents. The only gubernatorial debate between Brandon Presley and the incumbent Tate Reeves will be televised tonight at 7 p.m. That's on WAPT, Channel 16. WAPT, 7 p.m. tonight. The only time the residents of Mississippi get to see the incumbent Tate Reeves debate for 1 hour and 1 hour only with the challenger, Democrat Brandon Presley. Today's just another day that the Republican legislators have elected not to hold any hearings on the TANF scandal, the largest fraud in our state's history, according to many, but the Republicans don't want to talk about it. They don't want to let the light in the room. They want to keep that dark. They don't go running to the microphone saying we ought to have a hearing on this. And they want to let other thing. They talk about the former governor, Phil Bryant, being deeply involved. They talk about the current governor, Tate Reeves, being deeply involved in this welfare scandal. They talk about their appointees, these appointees that they put in place that shuffled this money around, stealing this money that wasn't theirs under the auspices of doing one thing, but they're really just taking care of their good old boy buddies. But do you think for 1 minute that there's only 2 or 3 people over there at that Capitol building that were in on this, that knew about this, that kept their mouths shut? Do you think? Not even possible, is it? And in a connected story, a federal judge on Monday, day before yesterday, dismissed Brett Favre's defamation lawsuit against a fellow retired NFL player, Shannon Sharpe, ruling that Sharpe used constitutionally protected speech on a sports broadcast when he criticized Favre's connection to a welfare misspending case in Mississippi. U.S. District Judge Keith Sterrett ruled that Sharpe, a former tight end, was using rhetorical hyperbole in saying on air that Favre was, quote, taking from the underserved, that the former quarterback, quote, stole money from people that really needed that money, and that someone would have to be a sorry person, quote, to steal from the lowest of the low. And Mississippi Today has published text messages that show that Favre knew exactly where this money was coming from for this volleyball stadium, for his speaking engagements that he didn't perform, and other things, et cetera, And there's no question from these text messages that he knew exactly where this money was coming from, and they wanted to keep it as quiet as possible. When a multimillionaire, why spend your own money when you can just dip into the fund that's set aside for the poorest of the poor in Mississippi? Despicable. No great news here, but the former president, Trump, has gone ahead and endorsed Reeves ahead of the November 7th election. Apparently, the largest fraud in Mississippi state history doesn't matter that much to President Trump. Our hospital system's fragile and some closing, desperate healthcare situation in Mississippi. Apparently that's perfectly okay with the former President Donald Trump. Tate Reeves' top campaign contributors, another story from Mississippi Today. Tate Reeves' top campaign contributors netted $1.4 billion in state contracts or grants from agencies the governor oversees, according to an investigation by Mississippi Today. Of the 88 individual or corporate donors who have given Reeves' campaign at least $50,000, Mississippi Today identified 15 donors whose companies received a total of $1.4 billion in state contracts since he took office in 2020. How about that? A lot of these are no-bid contracts. Do you think in a state with a 44% minority population that any of these contracts went to minority companies? Not even possible. Last year, as We Believe Digital has reported on numerous shows, the state of Mississippi gave with a 44% minority population, the state of Mississippi gave just 5.5% of contracts for goods and services to minority firms. How about that? The challenger, Democrat Brandon Presley, has outraised Republican Governor Reeves by more than $5 million to date in the state in this governor's statewide election cycle. Presley reported raising $11.2 million since January, and Tate Reeves raised $6.2 million during the same time frame. Apparently, they're neck and neck now with the spending, and it also looks very close in the polling. Also, with Reeves spending $10.9 million and Presley spending $10.7 million on its campaign so far. Another story out of a court in Jackson: federal judge postponed sentencing for the 6 former Mississippi law enforcement officers. Let me just restate that, because some news organizations don't quite highlight this. You know, the federal judge has postponed sentencing for the 6 white former law enforcement officers who pleaded guilty to a long list of federal charges for torturing 2 black men in January. And here we are, Mississippi. This is the kind of stuff that goes on here. Rankin County, you know, the Rough Riders of Rankin County, the Goon Squad. Sentencing had been scheduled for November 14th, but the U.S. District Judge Tom Lee wrote in a Friday order he would delay that in response to motions from some of the former officers. Their attorneys say they needed more time to evaluate pre-sentencing reports and prepare objections, the judge said. So the date has not been set. It's been speculated to be December 15th, but the sentencing date has not yet been set for these 6 white law enforcement, badge-wearing, gun-toting, white law enforcement that terrorized these 2 black men on January 24th of this year. And lastly, the congressional delegation got together on something. Can you believe this? The Mississippi congressional delegation is urging President Joe Biden to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom posthumously to civil rights leader Medgar Wiley Evers. Now, so that's Senator Roger Wicker, Cindy Hyde-Smith, Benny Thompson, Trent Kelly, Michael Guest, and Mike Ezell, all 6 of them coming together and sent this letter to Biden. So it is possible for these people to work together when they really want to. You know, Evers was assassinated outside his home in Jackson on June 12th, 1963, as a result of his work to promote racial equality, voting rights, and social justice. So we'll hope that the medal comes through. So we'll got a lot of stories on the national and global level. So we'll just start out on this first one before we head to our break. The new House Speaker, Mike Johnson, in one of his first moves, he's forcing a showdown over the emergency aid to Israel. Boy, a lot of people talking about this aid to Israel. He's pushing a vote on tomorrow, on Thursday, a bill that would provide more than $14 billion to Israel, but not include $61 billion in aid to Ukraine, as the president has asked for, and even many Senate Republicans have asked for. They want it all put together in one bill, but this guy's carving out the Israeli aid, and in some ways linking that to a reduction in funding for the Internal Revenue Service. Apples and oranges, you know. So we'll see if he's off to a good start or not. We'll see if he gets that through on tomorrow. 1 year after the passage of much-lauded Inflation Reduction Act, the coalition organizers and representatives are relaunching the push for a Green New Deal with a national tour. So this is starting up very soon, going to start up in the state of Michigan, and we're going to be hearing about it all over again, this Green New Deal. So that's it for this first segment of News Break. We're going to cut out for a couple of commercials by our Cracker Jack production team today, and then we'll be back with you just shortly.
Hey, have you heard about the Accountable Card? It's more than a card. It's a complete mobile banking service that's accountable to all of us. You'll get a no credit check debit card good anywhere Visa is accepted to make purchases, deposits, even get or transfer cash with an FDIC insured bank account managed from our smartphone app. There's even a pre-approved no interest line of credit if you need emergency cash. So why go to the bank when you can have ours in your pocket? Get accountable. Just download our app today.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
And welcome back, everybody, to Newsbreak on We Believe Digital Studios. So glad you're joining us. You know, you can always view us on YouTube at We Believe Digital. And on Facebook, We Believe Digital Podcasts, and on our own platform, WeBelieveDigital.com. You help push us over the 1,000 subscriber mark. We're so grateful. We're working on a new goal now, but you know we're not planning on quitting. This is an evolving, Black-centric media organization, and we're really trying to grow, and your help is so much appreciated. We know you must be getting what you need when you subscribe, and we want to keep doing that. And we're always open to feedback. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, call us anytime, 1-800-492-5186, and we'll be happy to speak to you. On Tuesday, Robert Card's sister called the Lewiston, Maine police after 2 mass shootings in the Maine city and said her brother was the man seen in the photos holding the long rifle. Card, 40 years old, killed 18 people and wounded others when he opened fire at the Just-in-Time Bowling Alley and Shamangi's Bar and Grill in Lewiston last Wednesday. The shooting set off a massive manhunt with hundreds of law enforcement personnel before Card was found dead, apparently from a self-inflicted gunshot wound 2 days earlier. There's some rumors out there that people were claiming that he was a pedophile and that's what the impetus for all this was, but it's just rumors at this stage. Nothing's been reported out fully on that. The next story, is that a gummy, a vitamin, or candy? Which is it? It can be hard to tell, and that's especially true for children. So since 2019, there has been a spike in the number of children younger than 4 who were taken to the emergency room for ingesting gummy multivitamins or over-the-counter sleep aids like melatonin. That's why the Food and Drug Administration convened a meeting of experts Monday to discuss what exactly makes a drug candy-like. So this is the first stage in a process that might lead to regulations on these products so that they could be more easily differentiated so that we keep our children as safe as possible. Next story, another sad, pathetic story. This white retired Republican state senator from North Dakota. Charged with traveling to Europe with the intent of paying for sex with a minor and with receiving images depicting sexual child abuse, according to a federal indictment that was unsealed on Monday. Longtime State Senator Ray Holmberg, Holmberg, 79 years old, was arrested Monday and released after pleading not guilty to charges in U.S. District Court in Fargo, North Dakota. His trial is set for December 5th. Wildfires again this year in California. Gusty Santa Ana winds ripping through rural lands southeast of Los Angeles on Monday, forcing about 4,000 people from their homes. The so-called Highland Fire erupted at about 12:45 p.m. in the dry, brushy hills near the unincorporated Riverside County hamlet of, Aguanga? Yeah, Aguanga. How about that? As of late Monday night, it had spread over about 2 square miles of land, and it keeps growing. So big, lots of fires out there last year. Pardon me. Here we are again, back in fire season. On the global front, over in Israel and Gaza, evacuations of people trapped on the Gaza Strip. People trapped on the Gaza Strip began through the Rafah border crossing for the first time on yesterday. Israel had imposed a siege on the Palestinian enclave after the Hamas attack. Some injured civilians crossed into Egypt, with hundreds of foreign passport holders, including some Americans, also set to leave. The crossing was opened after Egypt, Hamas, and Israel agreed to a deal that was mediated by Qatar in coordination with U.S. officials, a diplomat told NBC News. Yesterday, an Israeli airstrike on Gaza refugee camp has drawn condemnation and fueled new anger about the civilian cost of its expanding military operation. Israel said a massive strike on the Jabalia refugee camp killed a senior Hamas commander who was one of the architects of the October 7th terrorist attack. Dozens of other people were killed and wounded in the strike, according to a local hospital. So far, more than 1 million people have been displaced in Gaza, where Palestinian health officials say more than 8,700 people have been killed. This Palestinian health organization says more than 8,700 people have been killed. In Israel, supposedly 1,400 people were killed in the Hamas attack, and 240 hostages are held. And ABC News shares some slightly different numbers. So far, at least 1,400 people have died, and 4,600 people have been injured inside Israel from these attacks. The Palestinian authorities said at least 5,700 have died, and another 16,300 have been injured in Gaza by the Israeli response. Overwhelming response, overwhelming loss of life and injury. Shift briefly to the Olympics. France, Italy, and the USA. You know, somebody said something about the Olympics yesterday, and it got me thinking, so I looked it up. France, Italy, and USA will host the next 3 Olympics. So 2024 in France, Paris, 2026 in Italy, and 2028 in the US of A. A communication from the United Nations, the UN body formed to promote respect for and protect people of African descent around the world, says it first reported that they continue to be, quote, to be victims of systemic racial discrimination and racialized attacks, unquote, and calls for reparations from the United Nations. The report, which also delivered to the United Nations General Assembly on Monday, says reparations are essential to rectify past injustices against people of African descent and are, quote, a cornerstone of justice in the 21st century. F.C. Campbell Barr, chairman of the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, said at a news conference Tuesday that the report underlines, quote, the legacies of colonialism, enslavement, and apartheid are still alive today. More to follow from the United Nations. Interesting, connected story. The director of the New York office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, has left his post. Let me say that again. The director of the New York office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, the human rights chief, has left the United Nations, protesting that the UN is, quote, failing, unquote, in its duty to prevent what he categorizes as genocide of Palestinian civilians in Gaza under Israeli bombardment, citing the U.S., UK, and much of Europe as, quote, wholly complicit in the horrific assault, unquote. His name is Craig Mokhiber, Mokhiber, wrote it on October 28th to the UN High Commissioner in Geneva, whose name is Volker Turk, saying, this will be my last communication to you. So he out the door, stepping down, having reached retirement age. Once again, we are seeing a genocide unfolding before our eyes, and the organization we serve appears powerless to stop it. So how about that? A lot going on in this crazy world. So we sure say to take good care of yourselves, take good care of each other. We believe is continuing to have programming for you constantly, all the time, and we hope you'll give us feedback and encouragement. Continue to subscribe to WeBelieveDigital.com, especially on our YouTube channel. That can help us out. The Newsbreak show typically Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 noon, but this coming Friday, we won't have a show this coming Friday, as I'll be out of town. But we'll see. So we'll see you back 1 week from today, and by then we should have results of the elections in Mississippi. We'll probably devote much of the show to that a week from today, next Wednesday. Don't forget, next Tuesday, got to get out and vote. Really, really important. Thank you so much for your support. Have a great day. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.